further down the rabbit hole and into the toy box. Welcome to the toy box. This is part one of Andrew M's video tour of his collection. A collection so large that it has to be in two rooms. The upstairs room in my home contains all of my small scale, that is approximately 4 inches in size figures. They range in age from 1975 to 2016. They are arranged mostly in chronological order by age, oldest first and up top, and then newer as you go from left to right, back to front. As you can tell, I like G.I. Joes. I like G.I. Joes a lot. So much, in fact, that I have every G.I. Joe produced from 1982 through to 2008. And several G.I. Joes produced beyond that date. I also have a wide plethora of other collections in this room. Star Wars, Marvel Comics, DC Comics, smaller scale Transformers, Gundam. Lots of obscure 80s properties that were mostly seen on the previous rack, like Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, Mask, Robotech, a lot of stuff like that. All of these figures that you see are standing under their own power. And what I mean by that is that other than the stands that some of them have their feet placed on, which is just to stabilize them, none of these figures are glued down, taped in place, have invisible counterweights, or are leaning on each other. They're all standing up because I balance them. That takes skill. And it's a skill that I've honed over 35 years. I'm very proud of it. And yes, if you come into the room flailing around like a, maniac, you will knock them over. However, if you're a reasonable human being who believes in walking as opposed to stomping, then you'll be fine. So, if ever you visit me in my home, don't be too worried about knocking this stuff over. These guys fall over on their own all the time. Middle of the night, I'll just hear a crash and bang and be like, oh, geez. Did a stormtrooper finally learn how to hit something? Or, maybe one of those Cobra Vipers finally decided to load their gun for once. Who knows? You'll also notice in this room that I've got very, very tall figures and little diorama displays up on the very top and in the back. That's simply a matter of where else am I going to put them? They're huge. If I put them in front of other stuff, they're going to block out whatever's behind them. So I better put them there. I am limited to the amount of time that I can put on a video. This is the reason I'm scrolling through these a little quickly. But as you can see, I'm now into the late 2000s, and it's becoming a little less G.I. Joe-centric, and you're seeing a lot more of other stuff, specifically Marvel in this instance. I also have in this room all of my wall hangable figures, which I'm going to pan through now. I'll come back to that other one in a minute. These are all large scale, or at least 6 inches / 15 centimeters in size. They range in age from 2001 to 2007. And I have one figure that I purposefully have kept in the package, and that is Ass Backwards Carnage. Look at him closely. His butt is facing the same way as his face. This is a tremendously unbelievable packaging error. I had to keep that one sealed on the card just to prove that it actually was real. I did get the figure and have him loose in my collection elsewhere. That's the only instance of me getting something in the package to keep it in the package. Everything else, no. Oh, and having said that, yeah, okay, I lied, there's a second one. But he's for this display. I actually bought him specifically for this display. Cobra Commander here is the very first action figure to be officially considered part of my collection when I went from just playing with my toys to deciding that I wanted to grow their ranks and have a collection. I had him when I was a small child, and He's been with me ever since, and he's been through a lot. That chair he's sitting on, however, is a custom piece. I had that commissioned. So it's one of 98. This is what I call my centerpiece display. It has all of my extremely delicate, very, very touchy sentimental value, or my extremely rare, so valuable that I just don't want to risk having it damaged pieces. You'll have to guess which one is which, because I'm not telling you. Until, that is, you decide to maybe like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you'd like me to talk about in my future videos. Also have a small assortment of handheld weapons from Star Trek and a Darth Maul lightsaber. When you get a toy collection like this, you need a unique security system, so it's mine. That AT-AT is the only toy in my collection not on some kind of rack or shelf or display piece, simply because it's 2.5 feet tall, and that is very cumbersome. The final rack of my small-scale figures. These are, I think they go from 2010 to 2016. And that Darth Vader is the exception to the rule. He is not chronologically sorted at all. He's actually in 05, but he's got that, you know, big chair thing. And he got buried if I put him way in the back. I decided to heck with it. He's just going to go on the end. I also have all of my figure statues in this room. They don't move, but they're from a lot of the same franchises as a lot of my other action figures and collectibles, so I keep them here. It just seemed to be the best place. Didn't want to put them in the basement because I actually have to dust these ones, and that would just be a nightmare downstairs. So that's my upstairs collection room in a nutshell. I'm going to pan back and give you like an idea of what it's like when you step in here. Most people have said it's very overwhelming. I can actually spread my arms and move around the room quite freely. During the making of this video, I wanted to get in close just to show everybody what I've got, and to show that that one Transformer that I did a review for earlier today isn't an aberration. I actually have a lot of other toys.